Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode was brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play Team. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. Listeners should know that this podcast episode will include mature scenes and mature themes. This podcast episode uses the Marvel Multiverse Role-playing game rules written by Matt Forbeck. All content, including names, places, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. And now, on to our show. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I am normally your keeper, your storyteller, possibly your handler for most of our games, but not today. I get a chance to play someone very near and dear to my heart in many ways, but more on that later. I'm going to turn the table and we'll just say the comic book panels of this one over to storyteller James. So James, take it away.
Howdy, welcome, and salutations to all of you true believers. I'm glad you've all come here today for issue 1 of what I'm going to call anger management. I want you guys to follow along with me as we zoom through the cosmos, the various layers of the multiverse. We'll pass places we know and places we don't, and a light in a world that's familiar to most of you, but with changes that you will perhaps notice coming up. But before we get to those changes, let's find, as the camera zooms in further, to a room with a group of people. And those people are sitting around in a barely lit room that smells of coffee. And those people are...
Good morning. I am Santos, the epitome of serenity. I may have been involved in a recent tiff with the campus police, but fear not. I am here to learn the delicate art of not unleashing my anti-colonial rhetoric upon you or unsuspecting Imperials.
Thank you, Santos. I hope that this group can help you resolve maybe some of your deeper anger issues. And who's sitting next to you?
Hey, my name is Dakota, and I used to own my own business. I was in the private sector. I got shut down by, you know how it is, those larger corporations. They didn't like what I was doing or what the services I was providing. And so I'm here today because I've been told that I'm taking out my anger and aggression in an unhealthy way.
Hopefully we can help you find a more appropriate and healthy vent for you, Dakota. Thank you for sharing. And next in the circle here.
Hi, my name is Chase. I tend to keep a flexible gig economy type of thing going. Most of the time, I'm delivering pizzas for Delightful. That's why I have a freaking pizza on my shirt.
And you know what, Chase, we will talk more about that in a little bit. Thank you for sharing. And last in our little circle here is, I'll let you introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, thanks. My name's Frank. And I came back from overseas with some things I couldn't get rid of. And I'm here to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
I appreciate your candor, Frank, and your flexibility in this. And I promise you that we won't talk about anything you don't want to talk about, okay? My name is Dr. Cole, and of course, we're here to help you guys manage those feelings inside that may sometimes cause you to lash out. So each of you, I want to go back a little bit, and we're going to discuss a little bit more with what brought you here today and why you needed to share with me. So we started with Santos. So Santos, tell us a little bit more about your journey. It's 4 days ago. You are at college, the university, UIC. It is a fairly brisk winter day, just going into early winter. The leaves have just dropped the last onto the ground, and Chicago's, of course, more than living up to its name as the Windy City. This weather is a far cry from where you're used to. Your driver has just dropped you off at the university study facility for physics.
This is a morning class, right?
Yep. Well, morning for you, it's probably about 10:30.
I think I'll spend my time before class going over my next speech for the pro-worker union rally. As someone who tends to appreciate the power of unity, I'm looking for something fiery, something spicy, taking any of the anecdotes that I've gotten from, worker interviews to to really light a fire under someone's ass.
Sure. You're combing through a lot of the notes of the workers and the downtrodden people that you've talked to over the last 6 months. And God knows that you have met more than your fair share in the south side of Chicago, where you have done a lot of your canvassing. South Side's Chicago, due to a lot of the economic crunches and, of course, President Osborne's rather stringent economic changes, has developed something of a nickname. They call it Lucifer's Lounge. It is, to say seedy, is to do this term seedy and underservice. Some of the worst elements of humans have moved into the area and spread quickly. Unfortunately, a lot of them have trapped the good elements that are still there. And as these pockets, these islands of almost hopelessness that float in this unpleasantness. So finding these islands and listening to their stories has been arduous for you, but you have managed to do so and has made a notebook of rhetoric from which to draw from.
Once I'm satisfied with what I have written down, I'll kind of smirk and stuff my notebook into my bag and shoulder it, take a look around, probably head to class.
All right. You get to class. It's, as I said, this one is actually a mandatory science class, Physics 127. Not your cup of tea, but unfortunately, you kind of have to. A full round education, as they say. You struggle through the numbers and lines and angles. This is definitely more your father's work, or mother. Definitely not yours. This is not your cup of tea. Eventually, the bell does ring. Your professor holds his hand up. All right, that brings us to close for the lecture for today. I would like to thank all of you for your for listening intently today. No cell phones. He looks at a couple of the people, and there's some scattered laughter. All right, so you guys have a great weekend, all right? And don't get into trouble. He looks directly at you, Santos.
I'm probably not even, I'm getting everything into my bag and halfway standing up.
It takes you an extra few because you seem to have more laid out around you than everyone else. You kind of half notice that last tone seemed to be sharply pointed in your direction. He comes over, you hear his footsteps approach as you turn around. Santos, I wanted to talk to you for a second. His name is Professor Connors.
Of course, Professor. How can I help you?
Well, I just, listen, I don't want to say that you're not paying attention in class, because I know you are. And your grades are decent enough. You're a bright young man. I just wish you would maybe apply yourself to what's going on here and worry about your struggling grades a little more and other people's struggles when you have time to. I'm not saying don't worry about a good cause, but you have to worry about yourself sometimes too, sir. He kind of attempts kind of a friendly pat on the shoulder.
With his hand kind of approaching me, I will kind of quick snap at his wrist.
Mm-hmm.
Professor, the time for change is now. These people they have fair demands for wages and working conditions, and they have no voice. I don't come into your place of business and disrespect what you do. I do what is asked of me. My father asked of me.
He looks taken aback a little bit. I'm sorry, Santos, if I overstep my bounds. It's not a questioning your values or anything, or the legitimacy of what you do, of course, or what you're concerned about. I just don't want to see your concern for others swallow you up entirely, all right?
Whatever you want to build here, in this place, with your science, is fine. You can be the architect of doing this. We are the architects of our destiny and our future.
That is true. He steps out of your way as he lets you go, realizing he's probably not going to win this.
I will shoulder my bag. If you really want to know what work we do, I'll hand him a flyer. There's a rally tonight.
All right. Well, I do care about causes like these, so, perhaps I'll see you there, Santos, but do be careful. He heads back to his desk. Have a good day.
I will bite my tongue, because I really just want to lash the hell out of this guy. But I will just kind of turn on my heel and walk out.
Okay. You head out into the facilities commissary area. It's spacious and fairly enclosed from the wind coming off of the lake. while away some time, perhaps some food, and going over your notes once again. Afternoon sets in. Where are you headed? You don't have any more classes today. That was actually your only class for today.
What time of day is it? It's still during the day, right?
It's about 2 in the afternoon now. Once you've looked up from your notes, you realize that time has gotten away from you a little faster than you anticipated.
I will kind of anxiously rotate the bracers hiding under my sleeves. I mean, they're not like hidden, but they're just there.
Yeah.
I'll breathe softly to myself and try to... There's a part of me that feels like the professor he has good intentions, but I'm in this school because this is what Father wants for me. But as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing these people can teach me. I have purpose. I have something that I must do. I made a promise, and it's a promise that he failed to keep.
Not only is it his promise that has been handed to you, but is also his burden of failure, which is now yours to live up to.
So I'll have some coffee and brood.
So you coffee and brood. Okay. Are you brooding till, say, late afternoon, early evening?
I will brood until it's time to get to the rally. And I will say that Santos does make it a point. He doesn't step in as any sort of leader, really. He generally just he likes supplying the people and the organizers with ammunition. He's not an organizer. He's like an advocate, really.
Okay.
He likes providing them with fuel and support. Because one, it keeps him out of the spotlight. And two, it's not his fight. I mean, it is his fight, but they're his people to protect. Right. He is not one of them. He's here for them.
Not above them, but beside them and behind them as support. All right. Along about right before dusk, the meeting is at about 6:15, and you head over to the manufacturing district where there is a warehouse that has been the time and space has been generously donated by someone sympathetic to the cause.
Yeah, at this point, I have a new slogan and everything.
Excellent. You get to the rally, and the place is already jumping, as they say. There's probably 150, 200 people in this building milling about, talking. Some are laughing and, slapping each other on the backs like they haven't seen each other in a while. Others are huddled in groups and already fervently talking about things. You can feel the nervous excitement in the air, that feel of change, that static right before there's a spark.
Then I will do what I always do, and I will hand off all my notes and the new slogan of Workers United will not be divided to the organizers. And then I will do my best to kind of fade back a bit. I'll throw my hood up, and I'm going to keep an eye out for the ne'er-do-wells, the ones who want to stifle our message, the ones who want to exploit these people, the ones who want to keep them down.
Okay.
I'm just going to try to keep my cool. I can feel my temperature rising.
You feel yourself as you're in this crowd, the energy of the people, even if they're not angry, the energy of the people here, it's feeding that inner engine of yours. It's revving. You can feel it's the nitrous that's making your blood run hot. And for a moment, you start to get not dizzy, but it becomes a heady, angry rush to your head, and you feel like you need a breath of air. You find yourself moving towards the door briefly, just because you have to get a moment away from these people. It is very loud in here suddenly. And when you step outside, your sense is clear almost instantly. There was a lot of noise and excitement for the moment, the energy. You can still feel it humming in your veins as you see across the parking area where a lot of fairly battered and inexpensive cars, rust spots adorning the parking lot. These are not expensive vehicles. And it looks like there's a group of people out there, among them silhouettes. You can see not too much more at the edge of the parking lot, but it looks like they're fucking with the vehicles.
I'll take a minute to really key in and narrow my eyes and try to get a feel for what they're doing, and I'll listen very, very closely to see if they're talking. I'll let my senses kind of take control.
Okay.
I don't want to hunt these people, but I do.
You don't want to hunt these people, but you feel that there's a part of you that, yes, you do want to hunt these people, and maybe you should hunt these people. These thoughts are racing around in a circle in your mind as you find yourself already creeping from car to car across the parking lot.
Once I become aware of what I'm doing, I'll shake it off and stand up.
Yep.
throw my hood back. Hey, what are you doing over there?
One of them stands up and looks at you. Won't you mind your own fucking business?
Is that your car?
He holds up a tire iron. Oh yeah, I'm changing a tire. What's it to you?
Allow me to perhaps give you a jack if you need one. I crack my knuckles.
You've noticed that the 3 other people out in the parking lot that were in amongst the cars have stopped and are now looking at you. The air is quiet for a moment. Out here, still there's the hum from inside the building, as one of them punctuates the sound by putting the end of the tire iron through a car windshield. Oops.
Someone worked really hard to keep that car running.
Somebody should understand where their place is. You hear those words echo through your mind, bouncing off of the wall, the quickly closing walls of rage.
Is there anyone nearby that I know from inside?
You do a quick scan of the parking lot.
Yeah.
Make me a vigilance roll, please.
Sure.
Now, in the Marvel 616 system, what Alex is rolling right now is 3d6. 2 of them are going to be the outside d6, and the one in the middle is going to be the Marvel die.
I do have heightened senses, so I should have edge on vigilance checks to perceive things.
Fantastic. Edge means that when you roll, you may opt to re-roll one of the die and then keep the better of the 2 results. If I do not mention a target number, a challenging target number, meaning if I'm going to have you roll, it's probably going to be for something challenging or more, it is 13 for this rank. So if you roll above a 13, it's a success. If you have a higher difficulty, because the task is just inherently more difficult, then it obviously goes up from there.
I got a 16.
You do a quick scan around the parking lot. You do not see or hear anyone else other than these individuals out amongst the cars that are slowly trying to move towards a central location on you, but most of them have not started moving in earnest yet. They think they're being sneaky.
Then Santos will unzip his hoodie and just kind of delicately fold it in on itself and place it on a car next to him. Why don't you come show me where my place is?
With a grunt, the first one launches himself at you and swings the tire iron. You instinctively feel the metal on your forearms react.
I'm going to do my best to... The blood doesn't need to flow, not now. These people need... If a massacre happens here, right before a union rally, this could get really, really messy.
It will paint these people in blood.
Yes, so I will do my best to assist this gentleman in his forward movement and attempt to throw him off balance and toss him like one would a pillowcase full of stupid.
Oh, very good. Okay. So the sack of manure that you were tossing past you, in order to accomplish that, make me a melee roll. This fellow is not small. He is fairly large, 6'2", maybe 270 pounds. And he does have quite a bit of momentum.
16?
You close your hand at just the last moment so that the chances of hurting him are less as you grab his collar and his belt. And there is a definite crunch sound as he flies headlong into the side of a red pickup truck that is right next to a phone pole.
It was 30 damage, by the way.
He is out cold. He hits the ground, slumps over. The tire iron skitters underneath the vehicle. The other 4 stop momentarily, suddenly unsure of their forward advancement. You have the advantage, sir. Do you wish to press it?
I will smile at them. You had your chance. And I charge them.
All right. The people inside look at one another in confusion. The people nearest the door look at each other in confusion as they hear what... was that the cry of an eagle? Or a screech of some sort outside? And they don't hear anything else. And they basically go back to looking at the new slogan. They really think that this new banner and the new slogan, whoever dropped it off, they've lit the fire here. They're looking at something impressive.
I'm very likely breaking plenty of bones.
Out in the parking lot, there's blood. Not viscera, but there's definitely bones poking out of things as you smile and do your work for the people and protect their meager belongings. We will shift the camera to another place, another person who raises her fist. Dakota, you are holding someone by a front of a shirt. The shirt is torn. Your fist is drawn back. The fingerless glove that you're wearing is stained already and wet. Your pulse is hot and fast. You can feel warm spatters of liquid on your face. You're pretty sure that some of that is sweat. Most of that is probably blood and or viscera that has come out of the fellow that is in front of you on the ground. You have beaten this man. Well, you don't think he had any sense to begin with, but you have definitely beaten him viciously at this point. You hear a bell is going off over and over. There's people yelling as you uncurl your fist and realize that the man is probably about 10 seconds from being dead. And you may have been getting the stop the round bell for quite a while. The crowd is not cheering as much as murmuring, and you kind of stand up for a moment. What do you do?
I'm shaking because I was so angry that I had to bring myself back together. I got out of my head. I wasn't thinking that this was a fight in a ring. I was thinking this as I was fighting a bad guy. And I have sweat gleaming all over my arms and my face. And I just look around the ring, and I can't see very much outside the ring because the lights are just so bright where we are.
They beat down on you. You can actually feel they're like old incandescent bulbs. So there actually is quite a bit of heat too. So you're kind of now, you've gone from your fighting prowess being on display to you being under a giant spotlight.
I look over at the referee and shrug my shoulders. He probably had it coming.
The ref, well, the person who signifies when someone is either unconscious or dead, you wouldn't really call them a referee, as they don't really stop on technical issues or anything, but the MC comes out. He kind of gingerly steps over the spattery possible remains of the guy on the floor and holds your hand up. Not as high as you hold your hand up, so he actually has to reach up kind of on his tiptoes on the one side. And the winner is the Violet Vixen! The crowd finally erupts into a barbaric, savage cheer, calling for blood and cheering for violence and cheering on the fact that you may or may not have just beaten a man to death. A moment later, a guy comes out with an EMT patch on his shirt, and he crouches down next to the guy. And they take him away on a stretcher, but they don't cover him up, so you're pretty sure he's still alive.
I breathe a sigh of relief internally, and I, start pumping myself up again, telling the MC, "Who's next? Who's next?"
He looks around the ring.
Who will stand up? Who will challenge this woman, this Violet Vixen? Who will stand up and attempt to take out this Mauve Madness?
He kind of looks at you and shrugs a little. He's kind of struggling with the purple. There's quiet and murmurs. Eventually, a larger man gets into the ring with you, steps into he actually has to duck his head just a little to get into the octagon's ring. It's a very large man. He has black hair. He's probably about 6'4", and you're going to guess maybe 250, 260 pounds. And it doesn't look like any of it is fat. It is all muscle. He looks at you and cracks his neck a little bit. You think to yourself that he may actually give you a little bit of a run for your money as he launches himself at you.
Oh.
Fists the size of canned hams.
Hey, big fella, you came to play?
It looks like it. He grins and grunts, and he throws a wide right haymaker at you. Just for giggles' sake, make me a melee roll.
And is my target still 13 or higher?
Your target is actually going to be 15 for this one.
I got a 1 on my Marvel die.
That is a fantastic result.
But my total is... Let me math that. 9.
So you have what is considered a fantastic result, but it is not a success. So you don't botch per se. But how the Marvel 616 system handles that is you don't succeed, you do fail, but you fail upward. And one of the interesting things is that the player gets to decide how they fail upward, in that you don't succeed at dodging the attack, but you perhaps could put yourself in a good place for your next attack, giving yourself an edge on your next attack roll. Or you could say that his punch knocks you out of the ring, but it puts you in a position that he would have to make a move action and make himself prone to get to you for another attack. Or up against the fence rather, not out of the ring. But you see what I'm saying?
Yes. I will look at him and I'll, as I fall over, because I will fall trying to dodge the attack, I will end up underneath him, like in between his legs.
You fall, your foot actually slipping in a puddle of the blood and saliva of the last guy that you beat to human dish towel. You end up twisting one knee down and doing the quote unquote hero landing. You land one knee on the ground and it's right there. Look at that. It's just hanging in front of you like a bean bag, or like some sort of speed bag at the gym. Are you going for the Johnny Cage?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, I will say that hitting the knee on the mat, the way it twisted your leg, that did hurt. That was not fun. You actually do take 2 points of health damage from that. Your knee was not meant to come down that hard with your frame on it, but the damage that you do, you may increase 1 to your melee multiplier to roll damage.
So I don't just roll my Marvel dice for that. I roll all my dice?
You roll all 3. Yep, you roll all 3.
To the multiply it to the multiplier.
Yes, multiply it to the multiplier.
All right, so I get 28 total, but then I can add my ability to that, correct? For damage?
Yes. Yep.
So then I get 31.
You feel pelvic bone and hip socket when you punch. You don't just feel the soft parts, but you feel the hard, crunchy parts as you drive your fist forward into this man's groin. He way overextended himself, and his momentum continues to carry him into the boned lance that is your arm at this point as he crumples around your arm with a sound that even grosses you out. And you've heard a lot of muscle bone tearing sounds. The one hit takes just a moment, and then he just slides off of your arm and onto the ground. He's not paralyzed, but he is definitely going to take a moment or two to get back up. You currently have edge on 2 of your dice for your next attack.
Yep, I get back up and wipe my hands together. Well, who's hungry? As I head out of the ring.
All right. So you were taking that as just a victory and walking out?
Is he getting up?
He's going to eventually. You look like you have grievously wounded him, but it looks like he's going to try to get up. So you may want to not coup de grace.
Yeah, I will straddle him.
Okay.
And look down at his face. Be like, big fella, I would not get up again if you ever want to use your family jewels for anything.
He opens his eyes and, you bitch, and starts to curl his right fist up as he's looks like he's going to try to feebly punch you.
Oh yeah, I will take his right arm and try to break it.
You know what? I won't even make you roll for that because he's pretty much prone at this point. You put your knee down on his arm and you just twist it the wrong way and it makes a celery snap sound and he shrieks, a very high-pitched shriek now. And you don't think he's going to get up from that one. His arm is bent the wrong way, and there is now blood starting to stain the trousers around his groinal area. And you get up and you think, pizza would be good.
With a bottle of Jack, yes.
You grab a bottle off of your coach's quote unquote coach's stand as you walk by, and go off to search for food. Blood still dripping from your knuckles. So, speaking of searching for food, everyone's hungry from time to time. Everyone needs to eat, and everyone loves pizza. And this is something that you've learned, Chase, is that everyone loves pizza, and that everyone who gets pizza is a dirty, rude son of a bitch. Or at least that's how it seemed like today. Every customer that you have talked to and dropped their pizza off, not a single one of them has tipped. Not one. You have gotten 2 requests for donuts, and one old lady tried to pay you in casserole.
And I got a dirty look when I took that pizza back. We don't work on casseroles here, lady. Cash only.
Oh yeah, she started to get all sorts of bejiggity as you took the pizza back, and she very begrudgingly pulled out her purse and counted out singles until she got to the exact total, and then counted out change until she gave you exact change.
Did you want a penny back there for the yeah, okay, here you go.
She just scowls at you and snatches her pizza back. It better not be cold. And then slams the door. You find yourself standing on the stoop, looking at $13.50 in your hand.
Justice delivered in 20 minutes or less. Never get it cold. Yep.
Your hatred reaches all new levels as you head back out and remount your trusty steed.
You mean my cute little moped?
Absolutely.
It is so cute. It's got rose gold highlights, and it gets me where I need to go.
And in Chicago traffic, no less. So a lot of times you can get through places that other vehicles cannot. And as a pizza delivery person nowadays, working for one pizza delivery place, that is saying something. As you are headed back to your vehicle, your adorable little moped, your phone chimes. Bling! You've gotten a message. It's the work chime, which means you've got another delivery to make.
Check my phone.
They want you to come back and pick up 3 pizzas. It's going to be run to some sort of organization or something. And it's PDQ, or as the text puts it, I need your ass back here now.
Okay. She doesn't even bother to respond. She just motors off.
You zip off on the moped and head back off across town. Travel the couple of miles back to the pizza place. Delightful. It's so fluffy you could die. Like a plush unicorn.
Yeah.
You pull into the parking lot, which only has a few cars. Most of them are employees. You head inside. The owner is there, Angelo. About time. Listen, I don't want to have to remake these, so be quick. He kind of slides the 3 large pizzas at you.
She grunts, glares, grabs them, leaves.
You hear him already starting to badmouth talk. Well, that girl, I swear to God, to one of the cooks who just has to stand there and take it.
Steps far enough back into the door to flip him the bird before moving back to her moped.
Wonderful. So just a hand comes in, flips him the bird, and shoots back out. You take the pizzas, rapidly cooling in this chilly environment. You put your goggles and helmet back on, and you zip back through traffic. This one's a bit further away from the restaurant than you usually go, and it takes you into a fairly run-down part of your delivery district, which covers a fairly large part of the lounge, as they say. You won't say that your friends say you're brave for being a delivery person in this fairly crime-riddled area, but you get pretty mad respect around the water cooler, as it were. You drive for probably about a good 10, 12 minutes through streets that pretty quickly thin out to just parked cars on the side. And eventually you pull up outside of a fairly dilapidated late 1800s style house. At one point, this house was beautiful with the gingerbread style, filigree around the top and everything. It was very nice, but it has seen far, far better days. Paint is peeling off hunks. It's not great, but this is the address.
Not my problem.
Not your problem. So you head up the porch. The stairs creak under your feet alarmingly as you get up to the main door. There's a flag on the hanging inside the front that says, "Fuck your feelings," hanging on the door. It's been stapled there. And there's a large, it looks like a very crudely painted snake underneath it. Although To your eye, immediately it looks kind of like a blotchy turd.
Real artistic talent right there. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing talent. It's, the first thing. You actually have to stop for a second and look at it, and then you realize it's supposed to be like a coiled snake. You pause for the moment, and as your hand reaches up to ring the doorbell, the door opens, and a man wearing a green ball cap and a green shirt and a mask, like an N95 mask that's been painted green. He answers, "About fucking time."
We still made that under 20-minute mark, so here is your pizza. And she has the fakest smile on her face.
Oh, absolutely. Make me a vigilance roll as you hand him the pizza.
I got a 1 on my Marvel dice.
That counts as 6 points, yep. And it's a fantastic result.
So that's 12, 13, 14, 15.
All right. And you got a fantastic success, which means that is essentially a double success. So not only do you notice that he has some fairly objectionable things laying around on tables in the background, like, you know that everyone has a right to own weapons, but you're pretty sure that the weapons that he has laying around there on that table are illegal, and you're not even sure what half of them are. But you're pretty damn sure that the fairly large piles of white powder and little baggies are not at all legal. And the woman sitting across from the room in the chair, that's what draws your eye. She looks up at you, and her left eye has been thoroughly, is kind of has that yellow brown color. And she looks at you, not with like a look of help, but more of a look of maybe you should get out of here. He kind of notices that you're looking around him. The fuck you looking at? You get your fucking money. He shoves the sweaty handful of bills at you even more.
She takes it, smiles at him, and says, "It looks like you're just ready for a good time." And I think now is an appropriate time to describe what Chase looks like. She is a little over 5 foot, very girl next door, blonde hair to her shoulders, curly hair, cerulean blue eyes, very natural sort of light makeup. And except for what her mama gave her, she's very physically lean and fit. So that paired with the tight jeans and fitted leather jacket and the pizza, that's got to look.
Oh, yeah. Not unappealing. Yeah, he kind of, in fact, even eyes you up and down a little bit.
Friendly smile. It looks like you've got...
You want to party?
Yeah,
And he kind of gestures inside.
Opens the pizza box, takes a bite of pizza, smiles, and walks past to see what else is happening in here.
Okay. You walk inside. He closes the door behind you. First of all, the smell in here is a combination of cheap incense, cat urine, and chemicals. There's probably old food under there somewhere too, but mostly like burning chemicals, cat urine, that kind of a deal. You see that there are like 4 or 5 cats in here. All of them look to be various unpleasant states. He's like, "Yeah, have a seat." And he starts to scrape a line out of one of these piles of white powder with the side of a grubby credit card.
She takes a seat by the woman that was already here and wiggles her fingers at one of the cats to try to see if she can get to come over to pet it, see if it does in fact have fleas.
Oh, you don't actually even have to, because the moment you sit down, after about 2 seconds, one of them lands on your hand and then jumps back off. So you don't even actually have to get near the cats. And that's not the only insect you see in here within the first, say, 10, 15 seconds. This is a pretty awful place. Other things that draw your eye. Apparently, these 2 people are not the only people in here. There seems to be a couple of other guys that are sitting on the other side of the room around a card table. They're not playing cards, but they are, it looks like, working on flyers or some sort of office paperwork or something. There's flags on the wall. If you can think of an unpleasant American organization that epitomizes intolerance and ignorance, they have a flag for them here. They've collected the whole fucking set like they were fast food glasses out of the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Okay, gotcha.
What is your character thinking right now? What is Chase doing?
She is looking around the room and trying to decide. She thinks she wants to get the woman out of here before she takes care of these guys, or at least get her out of the room. Because once she gets going, it's not exactly going to... She is more discerning than the spirit she carries as to who is and is not innocent.
Okay. As you look around the room, one more vigilance roll.
15.
Okay. You are looking around this room. You see guns, lots of them. Some of them on people, some of them sitting in racks nearby. You see the flags, you see drugs, you see filth, empty pizza boxes. This is clearly not the first time that they have shopped with your place. But it's the last thing in the room that you see that makes your blood run, not hot, but cold. Sticking out from underneath the couch right next to your foot is something purple. It's dirty, but it's purple and it's squishy, almost plushy.
Does it look like a kid's toy?
Do you reach down and pull it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dirty Boppo toy. Boppo's a little purple bear that dances around. He's a kid's show.
She holds the toy in her hand.
It's missing an eye. It squeaks barely. And then the squeak ends. Boppo likes you.
Glances at the woman.
She looks away from you in absolute shame.
Chase hands her the Boppo.
Mm-hmm.
You should go to the bathroom.
The woman seems either so strung out or so ashamed that she doesn't even question. She just takes the doll and gets up and walks to the bathroom like a zombie. The guy on the couch looks at him. The fuck are you doing? Ordering my woman around.
I'm just getting her out of the way, man. I mean, we're going to have some fun. She looked so out of it. You need something a little more lively, right? A little fire.
Yeah. I got a little hot, huh?
Yeah. And she gets good and close.
All right. He allows it. He pats the dirty ass stained couch next to him and allows you to slink as close as you want to his sour sweat smelling ass.
Oh, forget that. She is straddling him on his lap.
Wonderful. You just drop down full Coyote Ugly.
Yeah, her legs are on either side of him. Her butt is right on his knees, and her arms are draped around his shoulders. He is not getting away from her.
The smell of halitosis and something that reeks that smells kind of like if you could piss out chili cheese corn dogs.
Yep.
Wafts off of him.
Yep. This needs some cleansing. Fire. Burn it with fire.
All right. So you do what you do. You make things warm.
She gets nice and cozy first. Like, she wants to fuck with this guy a tiny bit. She gets nice and cozy, smiles, and curls the fingers of one of her hands in his hair so that they are definitely locking eyes when she does her thing.
You are face to face. You lock eyes with this man who suddenly looks at your eyes and maybe begins to question the judgment of letting this innocent pizza delivery girl in and on his lap.
You can say it. She's a sweet piece of ass.
Okay, this sweet piece of ass. And sometimes maybe he's going to pay. Frank, you have been trailing these sons of the serpent, sons of bitches, for 2 weeks.
Okay.
You have been trailing these fuckers for 2 goddamn weeks. The shit that you had to do to one of them to finally get him to spill the information out of his dirty hole about where this house was, this hideout.
Yeah.
It made you smile. It was like a warm Christmas gift. The Sons of the Serpent have been around for quite a while. You know of them. You know of them to be the worst conglomeration of the worst kind of people. If they can hate another group, they will join the Sons of the Serpent. And these people have been running guns, they've been running drugs, and maybe they've been running kids.
Oh, okay.
It's about 8 o'clock. You are in a cheap van that you took from someone. The inside still smells a little bit like copper.
Well, that happens.
You have your usual accoutrement in the back, I assume?
Yeah, I don't go anywhere without my toolkit.
Of course. You've been watching this house now for a while. You're pretty sure that tonight is the night. You're going to have to do it easy because if they do have kids in there, you're going to have a problem. So you're going to have to go in quiet and you're going to have to go in mean. But you have quiet and mean in spades, don't you?
Yeah, left hand, right hand.
You have your hand on the door handle of the van. You're about to open the door when a moped pulls up. Turns off. A younger woman, long hair, pulls a helmet off, hangs it on the moped, pulls 3 pieces off of a container on the back, walks up to the door, looking at the door for a moment. She shakes her head in disgust. Door opens. There's a brief exchange. And after a moment, you think, all right, she'll be out of here and I can get down to business. But then she does something that you don't expect. This woman, who obviously takes care of herself, she walks inside and the guy closes the door.
No, not inside. Not inside. So this complicates things, obviously.
A little bit.
Okay.
So what are you doing, Frank?
Well, I picked through the toolkit for this sort of an approach, right? If I'm dealing with what I believe is a situation where there'd be multiple unfriendlies, multiple enemies, then I'm going to probably carry a shorter array of super heavy arms. So I'm not going to take any rifles. I'll have a shotgun. I'll have my pistol, my Maria, which is what I call it.
Right. You quickly strap on just a few standbys, a few go-tos, if you will, some old friends, and you hop out of the van and adjust your trench coat in the wind, the Chicago wind. It's something you've never really gotten used to, is the wind, the constant cold wind in Chicago. It braces you as you step out. A few flakes in the air swirl around you. And through the window, just even from across the street, you can see the pizza delivery girl. She has crossed the room and it looks like she has sat down.
I'm going to make my approach. We're in a residential area. Is it brownstone apartments in Chicago, or is it a...
This is actually dilapidated, you'd say probably 1890s Victorian style, white paint peeling. It has the stone porch with the wooden slats, as with the wooden pillars on the outside that are all dry rot. This place has not seen care in decades.
Okay. So I'm going to make an approach to the house that's going to primarily do 2 things. One, it's going to focus on being as quiet as possible. This isn't a front door loud situation in Frank's mind. It's assess how many people, really find out if there are kids in that place. And then 2, determine the number of targets and then attempt to find a way into the house.
Okay. You skulk around the side of the house, checking out through windows. You can count that there, other than the pizza girl, there seem to be 3 other people in the house. You do pick up on a few cues that say that there possibly either are or were children on site at one point or another. You get around to the back of the house and make me a vigilance roll real quick.
Okay. 14.
You come around the back of the house and you are about to grab, not the door handle, but you're about to grab one of the door ledges when you hear a low-pitched growl behind you. You slowly turn your head around, and there looks like there's some sort of large mutt, maybe mostly German Shepherd or Doberman, but it's looking at you. It has a spiked collar on, one of those choke collars on, and its top lips are peeled back in a snarl as it has a low growl at you.
Okay. Let me think here. How far is it away from me?
You'd say maybe 6-7 feet. It's not far.
Is it chained up in the backyard here?
It's in the backyard. It doesn't appear to be on a chain. It just seems to be in the fenced-in area. You have already basically gone around to look through the window. You essentially stepped around the gate. It was very poorly made. You just slipped through.
Yeah.
And now you're kind of in his home.
Fair enough. Frank's not the sort of guy who's going to hurt animals.
Nope.
That's not his way.
Nope.
I think I'm going to look at the dog. This is probably going to be ridiculous, but I'm going to look at the dog and I'm going to say, we got the same problem. Your owners are pieces of shit, and we both know it. So why don't you take a seat and let me deal with it?
Make an ego roll, Frank.
Okay. So that's a 1 on my Marvel die.
Hell yeah.
And so that is a 5-1-5 roll.
Okay.
So technically 16 plus
okay.
his ego of just 1, so 17.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Frank feels a little silly right off the bat telling this dog to stop and that they have the same problem, that his owner is a piece of shit. Amazingly, the dog does sit down, and like all Frank can think of is the old RCA dog from when he was a kid, seeing it on records. The dog tilts its head a little and perks its ears. It scarred-faced kind of turns towards Frank, and it just makes a low, questioning whine.
Good dog. I'll turn to the house.
It lays down on its belly, puts its paws out, and kind of rolls over on its side so you can see its kind of scarred and dirty tummy.
I make a note of that. That dog deserves better than it's got.
Okay. You turn towards the house.
Yep. My goal here is to penetrate the house as quiet, even on those Victorian-era floors. I don't want to make any noise.
In order to slip through the house, I need you to make me an agility roll.
Boy, I'd be happy to make you an agility.
I bet you would.
Okay, so that is 20.
Okay. Like an intrusive thought, Frank slips into the window of this kitchen without making a sound. Like he had always been there. You slide the jamb of the window open easy with thin Slim Jim that you have in your pocket. You slide it open, you tumble in, a light on the floor. Breeze on the back of your neck from the window is the only not stale and smelly air in here. This smells like rot. This smells like a flop house, like a drug house. Also, you smell smoke? Yeah, definitely smoke. Burning wood, burning plastic. And as you go to walk across the kitchen, you hear a scream. And then you hear the yelling of 2 other people.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to head towards the yelling. I'll bring the pistol up just to see.
Okay.
Just to keep it real close to the chest.
All right.
Not extend it out so someone could grab it.
All right. Now, the yelling from the living room is panicked, and is the panic is working its way up towards fear. But the scream sounds like pure, unadulterated agony, and is kind of tapering off. And you hear footsteps behind you on stairs as you pass them, coming from the upstairs. Heavy footsteps.
They're coming downstairs?
They are going to come downstairs, yes.
Okay.
There's more. It seems like there's a few more people coming downstairs.
Okay. I turn and wheel with the gun.
All right. As you turn, as they come around the corner, there's that hesitation of they don't know you're supposed to be there, but you do. And they freeze in their tracks for just a moment when you flip the light onto the underbarrel of your weapon. Their eyes, the pupils retract like deer in the headlights, literally. So, Frank, do you have it within you to pull the trigger?
Certainly. You said there are 2 people?
There's 2 of them on the stairs here, coming downstairs.
So I'm going to use snap shooting.
Okay.
I'm going to use it as a standard action. I'll make an agility test versus both targets.
That would be fantastic, please.
Okay, yeah. My agility test is 6, so that's 15 against both.
Okay. With 2 pop.
So it was mentioned before, but damage is rolled at the same time? Is that the same roll technically?
I do believe it is the same roll.
So it's Marvel die times multiplier plus modifier.
The first guy takes 25. The second guy takes half as much.
The first one that comes around the corner, you pop in the upper chest. He takes 1, and you see his blood spatter against the guy behind him. And the second guy, you basically shoot through the first guy into the second guy in this case. And he takes about 12. So he also takes, the window behind him shatters as the impact of the bullet in the first guy drives him backwards into him and then into the window and wall. They both slump down. He groans. The guy in front of him doesn't make a lot of sound. You think he is probably in shock or unconscious.
I head upstairs as soon as I can.
Okay. The panicked yells from the living room area on the ground floor get louder. and that smell of smoke that is starting to rise up out of the living room area.
Can't imagine what that might be.
Someone has lit a fire. You run upstairs quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm moving up the stairs. I'm trying to begin clearing the building from top to bottom.
Okay. Rosie, as you are, we'll say, doing your thing, you hear distantly the sound of gunfire. Too quick gunfire. Practice, not wild gunfire, and no one in here has managed to get to a gun yet. Just a note. Frank, you breach the top floor. First of all, the floor is quite warm, and you hear something crash through maybe a wall or collide with the ceiling underneath. You're not sure what's going on down in there, in that room, but you're glad you're up here, and that's saying something.
Sounds like it's a real shit show down there.
Mm-hmm. An absolute turd circus.
Yes. So I'm going to go directly into the room that those two perps came out of.
So you enter that room, and inside is another table. It looks like a hot plate where they were maybe cooking food, in quotes, basically cans of soup or something. There is a couple of drugs. There's just general filth on the floor, some used needles and such. So there's nothing a lot in this room here, but you hear multiple coughing coming from a room nearby.
Okay. Yeah, I'm headed that way.
As you breach the first room across the hall, the two sounds that you hear are a low, deep, racking cough and a very high-pitched, small, rapid cough.
And any other visual cues as to where they might be?
The door is about half closed, and as you push it open, you see that in the room, are you clearing the room first, basically, just pushing it up a little to check in? You see that there's another man standing there. He has a mullet. He's wearing a dirty Leonard Skinner shirt and jeans. And he has looks like some sort of semi-automatic. And you look in past him, and curled up on a bed is a child.
Okay. Well, that's just, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Another life here to ruin, potentially. Piece of work. So is he, do I have his attention, or is he reacting to something else?
He's reacting to the smoke, and when the kid starts to whimper, he tells him to shut up, and he starts to turn towards the door, so he has not seen you. It is fairly dark in here. There's one small lamp on in the corner.
Okay, so here's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I wear a big black trench coat for a lot of reasons.
Mm.
I am going to bet that my movement is faster than this punk with an Uzi. I'm going to slip Maria into my left hand. I'm going to step into the room. I'm going to pull up the right part of my trench coat, almost as a curtain.
Okay.
Because I don't want the kid to see what I'm going to do to the side of this dude's face.
Got you. So you walk in, shield the kid while blocking his view, and then you remove most of his face.
That's the plan, yeah.
All right. Give me an agility roll.
So I have a 1 on my Marvel die, which is really dangerous for him. And that's a 17.
Okay, yeah. You bring Maria up, and you kind of almost hockey puck his face with your trench coat. You wrap it around and push him more towards the wall so that he could not possibly be seen by the kid as you unload into him. I won't even make you roll damage because you're literally you have the barrel of the gun under his chin.
Right.
And as you put some holes in the wall and then proceed to fill them with the world's worst spackle.
Yeah, but for all the right reasons.
For all the right reasons, though. The yelling downstairs has stopped, but the crackling sound and the smoke smell has continued. And is actually getting louder and more robust, we'll say.
Awesome. So the kid has got to come with me.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to gather him up, and I don't even want to have to gather clothes from this space. I don't imagine
you don't see him having it, other than the filthy ones that he's currently in.
Is there a blanket?
There is a blanket.
Okay. How old's the kid?
You're going to say maybe 6.
Okay. So I look down at the kid and I say, "You coming with me?" And I'll grab with a hand and sort of scoop up the blanket, at the corners,
right,
to create a papoose, a really quick, mummification of a 6-year-old, and then put him over my shoulder and I suppose continue going.
Okay. The only other door up here is there's a bathroom, which is open. It's horrific, but there's no one inside. And it looks like a bedroom that's maybe like a drug den where they go to all. You see a couple people in there lounging about on the mattress.
Mm-hmm.
They're not moving. They're not getting up to do anything. So they're probably deep in some sort of disgusting haze.
Okay. So because I'm a sort of a completionist, Frank's a completionist.
Well, yeah.
I'm going to keep the kid in my right arm as sort of a strange flesh mobile.
Right.
And ease my way into that room. And I'm really just looking to see if these people are clearly members of this gang association.
Oh, yes, very much so.
Okay.
They all have very similar crude tattooing and...
Yeah, they don't leave this room alive.
Okay.
Maria sings them a very short song, and then I turn out and head back downstairs.
All right. The light illuminates your face from underneath for a moment as Frank makes a decision for them and puts them out of their struggles. And then your boots trod heavily across the floor as the crackling is now louder. You get down the stairs as the flames start to lick the doorway of the living room.
Okay.
And you breach the back of the house. Rosie, you find yourself now standing on the porch. You are covered in blood. You are holding your self-defense weapon in your hand. Your clothes are also steamed. The rage drains away from your eyes, allowing you to once again see your actual surroundings. And off to your right, as you stand there shaking, you see someone breach the edge of the house. He's carrying something, some sort of bundle, and it's small, and you see a little foot sticking out of it.
Oh, fuck no. They are not getting out of here with that kid. Fuck no.
All right. You feel it starting to well up inside of you again as you turn towards Frank. As you breach the edge of the house, this girl looks at you, and she turns towards you with, okay, Frank, you know where you've been.
Mm.
You know what you've seen. And the determination with which she puts her foot down to turn towards you gives you pause. There are a few levels of intimidation that you have managed to naturally see someone put out that are enough to pause Frank. Not to intimidate him, but it's enough to be noteworthy. It's not an impotent rage that she's walking towards you.
She literally slams her right foot down and pivots on the porch, like directly facing you, and like her shoulders almost lock in position, like she is going to essentially charge you, is the feeling you get from her posture.
This lady, she's going to do her best, Frank.
Okay.
She seems like the pizza lady, but she's not.
And she's covered in blood.
And she's covered in blood. So you have seen Stranger Things.
I've seen this movie. Yeah. I've seen Carrie before.
Right. So as she charges across the yard, Frank, what is your response? What are you doing?
Charge across the yard at me. I have a job to do, which is to save this kid. Because I'm fairly certain that this house is not going to stand for very much longer.
Rosie, as you charge towards him, make me a logic roll. Frank, as you tell me what you are doing.
I am going to dodge. I'm going to try to break line of sight.
Okay. Like use the trees and shrubs on the lawn to try to...
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm playing football. I've got the football.
13.
All right. Challenging on the nose. As you're running towards him, your footsteps start to falter a little. Just not that they're slowing down or anything, but your determination to get him falters as you notice that he is acting in a defensive manner, not towards himself. He is acting in defense of what he's carrying. He's treating it as precious cargo. He's not treating it as some bag of organs or this is like, I don't give a shit about this. He gives a shit about what he's carrying. And he also, you notice, even though he's clearly carrying a weapon, has not engaged you and has decided to instead start trying to lose you in the trees.
Okay, so maybe like a slight change in his posture to shield the kid over his shoulder a little bit. Something she would not have expected.
He even turns and puts his body between you and the child as you come towards him.
She definitely slows and turns back towards her bike and is willing to let him get away. Because honestly, what is she going to do besides cart the kid off and drop him at a police station anyway? Which is probably what this guy's going to do. And fuck, she doesn't care why this guy was there, what he was doing, but that kid is alive and this house is burning, and hopefully that lady had enough wits to get out of there.
You head back to your bike, Rosie, Frank, you notice that she's not pursuing you. She stops and seems to reconsider.
That's good. I don't stop my forward momentum. I continue to move.
Rosie, as you get on your moped and you throw one leg over it, you flip on the lights, and in the dim headlight, you see this figure open the side of the van and gently put this bundle inside. And he turns towards you, regarding you and your vehicle, and the light illuminates his chest as his trench coat hangs open, and you see something that makes your blood run cold. It fills you with a feeling of almost been hit by an airplane, as his grizzled face and his unshaven chin and glaring eyes all play second fiddle to the large white skull on his chest, as the unmistakable skull only one person wears. Frank gets into the van as you go to turn the key of your mope, when the night is illuminated by red and blue lights from both sides.
And I'm covered in blood, so let's get out of here.
Both ends of the street behind you on both sides, as it turns out, have at least 2 or 3 squad cars. And you hear over a megaphone, "The 2 of you, stop where you are. Get down on the ground and put your hands behind your head. You are surrounded and we will open fire." Your night just got a lot longer, Frank.
Yeah, and it's not a good bet. Trying to flee the cops with a kid is not going to work.
That's exactly your thought. You could get away on your own, but that kid, probably not going to be as healthy and hardy by the end of it.
Right.
And you see the girl on the moped looks like she's in a moment of indecision as to whether she's going to flee, as she looks around, not with panic, but definite concern at the police. And that's the moment we're going to pause on our view of Earth 618 in our first installment of anger management in the Marvel Multiverse 616 RPG setting. We thank you for joining us. I would like to thank all of our listeners, especially our Patreon supporters. Thank you very much. Without your support, we would have a whole lot harder time doing this. Thank you very much for my players, and we will see you at the beginning of next issue. Thank you and good night.